Before you spend months or weeks strengthening your weak glutes, hoping it'll fix your butt and leg pain, there are 3 simple self-tests that you should do first. And these tests answer 3 very important questions. Number 1, are your glutes actually weak? Number 2, is weakness really the cause of your symptoms? And number 3, will strengthening your glutes actually help? And at the end of the video, I'll show you how to turn these tests into actual treatments based off your individual results. And in order to perform this, you need 3 things. You need a stopwatch, you need a pen and a pad of paper, and then you need a small spot on the floor. So let's get started. So question number 1, are your glutes actually weak? You see, most people assume that because they feel weak, that they're weak. But feeling weak and being objectively weak are often 2 different things. So before we can blame weakness of the glutes as the cause of your symptoms, we first have to measure it and objectify it. And we also need to understand that glutes aren't just one muscle. They're a group of muscles with different jobs. So we're going to test each region in a moment with the following tests. So the first test is going to be the figure 4 strength hold, or better known as the clamshell. And this is going to challenge the deep glute muscles, including the piriformis muscle here. And the primary job of these deep glute muscles when they contract, piriformis goes from here to here, when it contracts is to rotate the hip up and out. And so this test is going to kind of challenge that function. The second test is going to be the side-lying leg raise hold. And it's going to test the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus muscles on the side of the hip. It goes from here to here. And you can imagine as these squeeze, these raise the leg up. It also helps kind of stabilize the pelvis when we're standing and walking. And if they don't work, well, the leg relaxes. So the side-lying leg raise hold will be the second test. And the third test is going to challenge the largest muscle in the body, which is going to be the glute max, the muscle that gives you the shape of your buttock. And so this muscle is known for kicking the leg backwards, in this case a single leg bridge, and it also rotates the hip outwards. And so we'll work through this one by one to test each of these muscles and these regions. Now before we begin, I want you to create a chart that looks like this. So I want you to write muscle, the test, and then just the right versus left side, because we'll perform this test on the right and then the left so that we have a comparison. And I want you to write the muscle group, the glute max. Remember, this kicks the leg backwards. The glute medius or minimus, it's going to raise the leg out to the side. And then the deep glutes, which are known to rotate the hip. And these are the tests, the single leg bridge test, the leg raise, and the clamshell. And then this gives you a spot where you can record how long you can hold each of these positions on the right side and the left side. And as we perform each of these tests, we're going to record this so we can look at the differences side by side. And one other thing, be sure to just star or circle the side of symptoms to make it really obvious for us. And if, as you're performing any of these tests, they become painful, just stop, because we know that pain can inhibit function and will make it harder to interpret the results. So now let's work through each test individually. All right, so the first test is going to be a clamshell or figure 4 strength test, a hold. And this is the position. So you can see here that her heels, her butt, and her back are kind of all in one line. Picture like you're laying against a wall here. And her knees are going to be stacked on top of each other, her heels together. And I like to have people put their hand here, because what happens is when they go to open their legs to perform the test, they tend to roll or rock backwards. So you can see your hips opening up there. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your hand here, and you're going to want to open as far as you can, just the point of where you want to tip backwards. So if you're tipping backwards, you've gone too far, open it up as high as you can. You keep your heels together, and you hold that position. And you start the clock. Whenever you get in that position, you start your timer. All right? And then the test ends, and you hit stop on the timer when you notice that you cannot keep this end range position. So if your leg starts to drop down, you're really fighting to get it up there. Or if you start to notice that, well, you're just getting really, really tired. So stop when you are fatigued, not failure, but fatigue. Hit stop on the stopwatch and just record your results on that chart that we just created. And let's just say in this example, her symptoms are on her right side. Compare this then to the other side. So if you did it on the right side, then roll on over and do the same exact thing. Be sure to start your timer, stop your timer on the left side, and then again, write it down. Test number 2 is the side leg raise test to test the outer hip muscles. So you're gonna get in the same clamshell position. So back, butt, and hips all in line, and simply just straighten the top leg. Slide it straight out. And a lot of people, when they do this, when they go to raise the leg and they contract these muscles, they'll wanna pull it forwards. Don't let that happen. Pretend as if you're lying right in front of a wall and you're just sliding your heel on that wall, all right? And what you're going to do is you're going to, again, put your hand here, because a lot of people raise the leg too high and they start to crunch this side of their body. We don't want that, and you start to pull it forwards. So just raise it up until you notice your body wants to start crunching. You got another couple inches. There you go, right there, hold it. Okay, you hold that position. You're going to feel burning and working right here. The time starts when you're there. It stops when your leg starts to really drop, or you get tired. Do it on the one side, record your results, and then do it on the other side. Third test, single leg bridge test. So you're going to get in this position, on your back, heels in about this position, a little bit of space there, not all the way up to your butt, but not all the way stretched out. So just pick kind of like a natural position to lie in there. And then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna pick one side. In her case, we'll start with the right. You're gonna take your other leg up. You don't have to pull it all the way up, but you don't want it straight either because that's gonna be really, really challenging. So just start here at about 90 degrees and then go ahead and bridge on up. Now, you don't have to think about squeezing your belly or squeezing your glutes. Your body will just do what it needs to do, and you don't need to hyperextend. So you don't need to really think about arching. Just hold it here so everything's kind of in line. And you start your timer, and then when you get in that position, right, you keep holding it until you start to notice that you just want to drop because you can't hold the position and or until things get really fatigued. Test on the one side and compare that to the other side and write your results down. And a question you might have is, well, how much time do I spend breaking between these tests? Take a minute or two rest between each of these tests, the figure 4, the side leg raise, and the single leg bridge test if you need it. So now that the results are in, we can objectively analyze the data. We can look at the numbers to help us answer the question of, are your glutes actually weak or not? So this is just an example. So you would have recorded the hold times here in seconds. And you can see, again, we marked the painful side. And if we look at this, something probably stands out. You can see that the pain-free side could hold the clamshell or figure 4 strength position for 20 seconds longer. So a clear and objective or measurable difference compared to the painful side. So the painful side, you could say, is weaker, has less horsepower, less force production, less output. Big picture, all right, to keep things really simple. And let's just say, so we have some type of benchmark. We're looking for like 10 or more seconds difference side to side. Because we don't want to split hairs here, it should be clear and measurable, all right, and very obvious. So in this case, we could say or make the argument that yes, the glutes specifically, maybe the deep glutes or the muscles which are responsible for rotating the hip outwards, is kind of the weakest link. So another example might look like this, whereby the glute medius or minimus, the muscles on the outside of the hip via the side-lying leg raise, reveals your weakness. So you can see here 30 on the painful side compared to 50. You could argue that, hey, there is some weakness or lack of force there. Another example, in this case, the glute medius and minimus, the outer hip muscles seem okay. The deep glutes, they're within 5 points. Again, nothing major there. But here, the muscles that extend the hip, the glute max via the single leg bridge test, is the weak link in the chain potentially. And again, you can see the difference right to left. So in all these cases, we could say that weakness is actually present or appears to be. Now, oftentimes what you'll find is that the painful side might actually be stronger than the pain-free side, in which case glute weakness cannot be and or is very unlikely to be the cause of symptoms because it's not objectively weak to begin with. So that theory is kind of dead in the water right there. So you can see here that the painful side is actually going to hold longer than the pain-free side. And it's possible that you have weakness in many different areas, as evidenced by this example in the single leg bridge, the side-lying leg raise holds. And so again, this answers the question objectively of, are your glutes weak? Yes, in this case, maybe in more than one area. And many of you will find that the strength is equal or roughly equal on the painful side versus the pain-free side, in which case this tells us that your glutes are not actually weak and that glute weakness cannot be the cause or is very unlikely to be the cause of your symptoms. So now that we've analyzed some data and we've gone through some different scenarios to actually highlight if weakness is present, we can start to answer the second question. Is weakness actually the cause of your pain? So if you found weakness, well, the logic still has to make sense. So you want to ask yourself, when do you actually hurt? If your pain is mostly present while you're sitting or driving or sleeping or standing still or lying down, times when your glutes are not required to be strong, not required to produce force, then weakness is very unlikely to be the source of your symptoms or to explain your symptoms. On the other hand, if your pain is consistent and or shows up when you are walking or climbing stairs or getting out of a chair or running or jumping or hiking or doing something whereby your glutes are required to work, where your body calls upon the strength of the glutes, then weakness becomes a much more believable explanation. So now we need to roll into our third question. Will strengthening actually help? Who cares at the end of the day, Charlie? And you know what, Charlie? I still don't believe you because I know I can feel the weakness, right? Will strengthening actually help? So assuming you've discovered clear weakness on the painful side and your symptoms are present when your glutes are having to work in some way, then it makes sense that weakness could be the cause and that strengthening might help you. But how do we prove this? And so now I want to take this one step further. I actually want to show you how to test this for yourself so you can prove right now if strengthening is going to be a waste of time, it's going to make you worse, or if it's something that could potentially make you better. So before we dive into this, 2 rules. Number 1, any exercise you perform must be pain-free. Doing something which is painful over and over again typically makes you worse. And number 2, the strengthening exercise must, believe it or not, make you immediately feel better. Now, before I hear the comments or I read the comments of like, well, strength doesn't improve that quick. How could it immediately make you better? Strength takes time. I hear you. Maybe we're not talking about strength. Maybe what we think we're doing, we're not actually doing. So let me be clear. If you were to choose to do an activity which made you immediately better, which did not make you better, made you the same, didn't change anything, or made you worse, which would you prefer? And everyone up to this point in my career has said, I want to do something that makes me better. So if I don't see a change right now in the moment, and I'm going to suggest that if you don't see a change right now in the moment, we'll talk about what that looks like and how to define that, then I have no reason to believe that it'll somehow work in the future. All right, so I want to see a change now, immediately for the better, versus doing something or spending time on something that doesn't work or something that makes you worse. So step 1 to determine if strengthening is going to be immediately valuable for you, so you're not wasting your time, is to find a yucky motion, score and record it. So we want to find a motion which is consistently reproducible of your symptoms. Common motions which are painful for people who have a pain in the butt is going to be figure 4 motion. All right, a leg raise, kicking your leg out. Common people have sciatica, a knee to chest position. Or maybe it's none of these things. I don't care what it is. You can hop on one leg, you can walk up the stairs, you can get up, you can do a lunge, you can do a squat, you can run, you can do anything you want. Do it, and then use this yummy yucky scale, whereby low, medium, high, yucky, low, 10, 20, 30, medium, 40, 50, 60. You see the higher the number, the worse or more yucky the symptoms are. Do the thing which reproduces your symptoms one time, give it a number, score and record it, write it down. Then what you're going to do is go back to your data. Remember, we make decisions based off the data. In this case, maybe the biggest difference in your strength was via the clamshell test. And so take this test whereby you notice the biggest difference and turn it into a treatment. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and you're gonna do it. And you're gonna do it 3 holds until you're tired. 3 holds until you're tired. Take 10, 15 seconds in between to break. Do it again. And you're gonna do that 3 times. And then what you're gonna do is immediately afterwards, you're gonna get on up and you're going to retest your yucky, painful motion. Let's just say for her, it was a figure 4. And maybe it was a 50 out of 100 on the yummy, yucky scale. And now maybe it's a 40. It's better. So now you're gonna bottle up that motion, that clamshell motion that she did, and you're gonna do 3 holds until you're tired twice a day. That's just a general prescription. Let's just say now that it didn't make her better. Well, we would move on to something else maybe. Or we could start to conclude that, hey, that strengthening exercise did not make me immediately better, in which case I wouldn't want you to waste your time. Or maybe it made you worse, and you've been told, hey, your glutes are weak, you should be doing clamshells, but maybe now via this test, treat, retest process, you found doesn't actually make me better, it makes me worse. Maybe it's not the clamshell or the deep glutes where the deficit is. Maybe it's the muscles on the side of your hip via side-lying leg raise, in which case you test, you treat, you go to a side-lying leg raise, 3 holds until you're tired, and then you retest the yucky motion, same, better, worse. Maybe, stay there, maybe glute max via the single leg bridge test. And then you go ahead and you do that. 3 holds until you're tired, and then you retest. Hopefully that makes sense, all right? So this is how you prove and answer the questions of, are my glutes actually weak? Versus just taking someone's opinion and or going off their thoughts or feelings. This is about the data. Then you go do some tests and you can see and or highlight the weaknesses. And then you can start to make some conclusion based off when you feel your symptoms or when you don't. Hey, if I feel symptoms when my glutes are actually active, then maybe that makes sense to need more strength. But if I'm sitting in my butt and I feel pain in my butt or in my leg, then, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense that strength would have anything to do with it. And, oh, by the way, how do I know if it'll help? Even if you don't buy into anything that I've said so far, you just test it, you treat it, and you retest it. And you could plug any motion, single leg bridge, planks, bird dogs, clamshells, fire hydrants, squats, lunges, whatever you want to try on to see if it's something that's gonna be valuable for you. Any strengthening exercise could be plugged into that, all right? So that's all I got. Hopefully this was valuable. So if you found in today's video that your glutes are not weak and therefore strengthening them makes little to no sense, then you're gonna wanna stop looking for Piriformis Syndrome exercises because people will tell you, stop strengthening, stop stretching. So what do you do about it? It's time to think outside the box. Be sure to check out this next video where you can start to look at things differently.